Hello. Today we're going to be looking at the third of the 12 passages focusing on reparenting our inner child and educating our own children. This passage is a verse that tells us in every generation a person has to see themselves as if they personally had gone out from Egypt. The lesson that is being taught to the children follows what we have spoken of before. Firstly, the first passage, accepting the authority of the Torah and internalizing that the Torah belongs to me. It's mine. It doesn't belong to the rabbi. It doesn't belong to the Rebbitzin or to those religious Jews. It belongs to me, to each one of us equally. And then looking at proclaiming the oneness of God as the kind of fundament of Jewish faith and Jewish way of living. Now we come to this notion of going out of Egypt, because our purpose here is to go out of limitations. In Hebrew, the word for Egypt, Mitzrayim, is the same as the word Meitzarim, which means limitations. And our work in this world is to go out of those limitations. Whatever our personal limitations are, whatever the limitations of our nuclear family or our community are, whatever the limitations of our cultural context are, and even of the generations context. So we could say every single generation has its particular gift, and at the same time, every generation has its challenge. I cannot hang my failures on a hook that says, well, mom and dad did this, or school says that, or my community is X, etc., or this is generation XYZ. No such thing. Go out of limitations. And the verse itself says, in every generation. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says this doesn't only apply at the level of the generation, but b'chol yom v'yom, each and every day. That means when I wake up today, I have to begin living in a whole new way from the way I did yesterday. In fact, waking up is a kind of a rebirth, like a resurrection of the dead at some level, because sleep is 1/60th of death. So I wake up with this new life and vigor inside of me, and I have to today go out of those limitations. It reminds me of what one learns of in the 12 steps, which speak about the notion just for today, or I think the slogan might be one day by day or one day at a time, something like that. That one day at a time, but it's also each day at a time, every single day, and just for today. I'm not going to try and go out of tomorrow's limitations today. I will go out of today's limitations today. And sometimes it can even be enacted on a moment-by-moment basis. So it's the level of the generation on a daily basis, and sometimes even on a momentary basis. If I can just be still, be present to where I am, I'm very likely to go out of many limitations that are trapping me. If I can connect with my Creator, I can go out of the limitation that is blocking a particular interaction. And when we think of going out, we give ourselves of our own limitations, we give ourselves permission to be infinite. A couple of years ago, I was reading Tanakh, a part of the prophets, to my children, or telling them the story, which was about the birth and the childhood of Shmuel, Samuel the prophet, where his mother Hannah was childless, and how she had gone to the sanctuary in Shiloh and prayed. She conceived, and at that time she had quite an intense interaction with the priest. At the time his name was Eli HaKohen, and she took her son home. She went home, she conceived, she gave birth, and raised her child. And when she weaned him, she brought him back to the temple, or to the sanctuary. And Eli raised him. She actually left him there for the rest of his life. I think he was 5 years old, and he was raised in the holy context of the sanctuary of God. And I was telling my kids that one night he heard a voice and he thought that Ailey was calling him because the priest was already getting on in years, and he went to him and he said, you called, what can I do? And he answered, no, I didn't, you must have heard something. So he went back to sleep, and Shmuel again heard a voice, and he came to Ailey, and again he was told, no, I didn't say anything. But already the priest realized that this must be the word of God, that Shmuel had had a prophetic moment and was beginning a lifetime of these prophetic experiences. So I'm reading this story, and my kids are listening with, raptured attention. And one of my children says to me, you see, I guess he related to the story very deeply because maybe he himself was 5 or 6 years old. He says to me, so Mommy, you're saying that you don't have to be 80 years old to be a Navi, to be a priest? So I said, yes. He says, he was 5 years old and he was a Navi? I said, yes. He said, well, Mommy, do you think that I could be a Navi? Could I be a priest? And in that moment, I was so swept up by his positivity, his belief in the fact that anything was possible. I thought to myself, how much do I limit my own life because I'm putting blinkers on or setting up gates and saying, well, I can't do that, I can't do that. Whereas really the infinite is available to us. So the third of the passages is what we give over to the kids and to ourselves, saying, go out of limitations, live an infinite life, live an impossible life, because what you think is impossible is actually fully possible. And do that not only in a generation, once in your lifetime, do that on a daily basis, and do it even moment by moment, until all of us manage to leave our personal limitations. The world leaves the limitations of exile, and we enter into a new world, the world of the redemption.